that into JSD. I don't think we'll continue to offer that as a standalone product. I think we will migrate people and just make that as a component or solution included in JSD in some edition. I'm not sure which edition of JSD. But the point of those types of acquisitions, we either have standalone stuff like Halp, where we say this is good, but we're going to make it grow, or we have things like Mindville, where we say this is great as a feature of a product we already offer. I'm pretty sure it falls in that second category.
Ryan, you are stealing away the questions, which we were going to save it for later.
Okay, well, we can answer it again later. I'll actually go read our official press response to it between now and then, so that I don't say the wrong thing.
Hey man, you knocked it out of the park. That was a really good, good summary. I liked it.
Thanks. And you're recording it too. That's awesome.
All right, guys, let's get started. Officially, we are 5:05. Welcome everyone for this wonderful evening of our Org NYC virtual event. Probably this is our fourth event. So hi everyone. Are there any first timers for this event today? Either you can post it on the chat or you can just unmute yourself and say hi. No first timers. Oh, that's
say hi is.
Oh my God.
First time to New York, not first time to an ACE, but yeah. Hello and excited.
That's great, Dan. Nice to see you. Probably maybe next time we do it in person in New York. So we look forward for that. But thanks for making it this event. That's really great. So get started. This is a brief agenda for the day. We'll just get started. We had the first talk on consolidating service desk management in Atlassian Suite. So we have Joe Centineo from Hi-Fi Games. So we can give him a high five with that. And then we have Fletcher, Richman, and Steve Goldsmith from Atlassian, who are going to talk about Halp, the new kid on the block, or probably a little older now, considering there is a new tool now. And then we have a regular Q&A session, and then we have the raffles and closing. So before all of this, guys, we still have the survey open. It's going to close at 6 p.m. If you have not answered your survey, please do it now. It has a bunch of prizes, pretty cool ones. So make sure if you have not answered, to make sure to get through that and to go forward. All right. A couple of code of conduct. I think we are all pretty familiar with this. So we stay on mute all the time unless you have something to say. If you have a noisy background, if you're like in a pub or somewhere, just mute it, put a virtual video or something. And again, anytime you have anything to ask, or even when a presenter asks for any questions or feedback, please chat is the way to get for it. And then, as I mentioned to you, we have a survey. So the survey is basically to get a pulse check from you guys on what we need to present, like exactly as this evening on what is the topic that you guys like to hear. So it's more of that. So we have 16 questions and it should take you approximately anywhere between 5 to 7 minutes. So we have 4 cool prizes along with the survey. So this is a link. If not, probably maybe Dilip or Kapil, if you can post this link on the chat, that would be great. And then we also have to thank our sponsors for all the awesome gifts that they give part of it. So primarily for Atlassian for making this ACE event possible and this Zoom link. All thanks to Atlassian. Then we have AdTech. So they are going to sponsor or help us give the $25 gift card for our first presenter, a user speaker, that is Joe. And then we also have Column and eCode, so that would be raffle prize. So we'll spin a wheel to pick the lucky winners there. So in total, we have totally 5 gift prizes today giving out. So apart from this, the rest of the stuff, I'll come back to it later in the evening. And as I mentioned, the event is going to last until probably like 6:30 or so, but we can still hang around and do our networking please. So without waiting a lot more, let's hand it over to Joseph Centineo. He's going to introduce us. Like, even if you guys are not using Service Desk, it is not a blocker. He's going to show you the cool way that you can make use of Service Desk for some of your stuff. So let's give a round of applause and hand it over to Joseph Centineo from Hi-Fi Games. Joseph, you can take control now.
Thank you, Madhu. I'm just going to take over here. Is it showing up?
Yes, it does.
All right. So hi, everyone. My name is Joseph Centineo, and I'll be here talking about consolidating Jira Service Desk Management. I'd just like to start out by saying if anyone has any questions, put them in the chat, and I'll be sure to answer them at the end. So here's a quick breakdown of the agenda for this lightning talk. I'll give a quick breakdown of myself, High Five Games, and what my team of support engineers do. I'll discuss where we started with our original tool set of applications for managing the service desk and pitfalls that made us begin our search for a better solution. I'll explain the process we took when finding an alternative solution. And lastly, how the Atlassian suite was able to solve our issues while creating a more streamlined process for the team. While this discussion explains our journey using a self-hosted instance of Jira Server, Jira Cloud offers a very similar experience. So High Five Games is a casino games company producing over 500 slot titles for land, social, and real money online gaming with 17 million players worldwide. For those gamblers out there, you may know High Five's most famous titles, such as Hoot Loot, Double Da Vinci Diamonds, and Golden Goddess. For any of those living in New Jersey, you can find us on your favorite online casino. High Five Games has roughly 150 employees, and internally we produce all aspects of the slot game, having teams of artists, musicians, mathematicians, and lots of developers. As for myself, I've been with High Five Games for 6 years now, starting off as a service desk technician and now being service desk manager. While some other departments have grown over these 6 years, the IT department has shrunk in that time frame. This meant that my team's responsibilities have grown drastically. Originally, we were solely responsible for corporate and user support, but nowadays we wear many hats. To name a few, we are the systems administrators for all cloud and on-premise corporate infrastructure, Atlassian admins, Tier 1 support for our real money gaming division, all while still providing corporate support for our now 100 remote employee base. While there's many tasks on our plate, simplifying our workload any way we can was a huge bonus. So a quick little poll for everyone. How many of you currently are using Jira Service Desk within your environment? A show of hands or in the chat. I see we got Steve. Oh, got ahead there. Okay. So this is a simple representation of our original setup was configured, the IT DevOps nightmare. It's a bunch of silos where none of the tools were working together. Our original solution used Dell Case for support tickets. The system was a separate physical appliance with licensing and maintenance costs. It was separate from the ticket system that the rest of the company was already using to organize tasks among employees. And while Case had its own built-in knowledge base system, it never gained traction among employees, being separate from the main corporate knowledge base of Confluence. SharePoint was our corporate intranet site used by all departments for document management and information. In IT space, we had a custom workflow that was used for purchase order approvals. We faced issues with the cumbersome editor, and the workflow to accomplish purchase approvals was more complex than it needed to be. SharePoint's search functionality was very basic, which made finding specific purchases very difficult. Lastly, we were unable to efficiently link together purchases or support tickets to purchases. Excel was our asset management repository. This is self-explanatory in terms of how sophisticated and reliable of a solution this was. We had no proper change control, so we never knew who was changing fields. And most annoying of all, we would always get hit by file locking whenever a team member would be actively using the file, or most of the time forget to close the file. Similar to the previous solutions, we were unable to efficiently link assets to support tickets for tracking trends. Lastly, as the company moved into the real money gaming space, we needed more robust tools that would allow for better auditing and compliance and not just a big pile of email conversations. As you can tell, we had a lot to improve on, and so the search began. We developed a list of what features we would need to improve our current situation. The solution would need better knowledge-based functionality for self-help. The more information the end user can find on their own, the less time we needed to spend reminding them how to change their passwords. We needed something that wouldn't feel cumbersome to submit a support request. That way it would encourage users to submit tickets instead of suffering through their issue or reaching out to us over direct message. We needed proper asset management with detailed information, change history, and support history. How much RAM a machine has, when its warranty expires, how many times has it been reported to blue screen, as well as who last edited the attributes of a given asset if we had a question about a recent upgrade. The real money gaming industry comes with lots of regulations and lots of audits. We needed a way to make the auditors and our compliance teams happy. We needed to be able to have a highly customized workflow and easily export tickets during audits. Would it be possible to view an asset, see when it was purchased, local admin approvals for it, and review past support issues for it? What about being able to query a username and see all hardware and software assets assigned to a specific employee? Breaking down those silos and integrating solutions was key. We did much research and evaluated products such as ServiceNow, Zendesk, and had a conversation with our dedicated Atlassian admin at that time. While the other products worked well, some being more robust, some being simpler, we finalized our decision on the Atlassian suite for a number of reasons. High Five Games already had a Jira server instance, and adding on Jira Service Desk was very straightforward. If you've never used it before, it's very similar to Jira software. However, you get added benefits of a customer portal for end users to submit their tickets, view open tickets, and view announcements posted by the service desk. It still maintained the benefits of email to ticket that we had with Case and came with a cleaner UI and on a platform that allows us to expand and integrate other solutions into it. Jira was something the rest of the company was already familiar with, which made it more of a familiar place for them to contact our team. We kept the ball rolling and dove into the Atlassian marketplace. For those not in the service desk management field, asset management is a critical part of our job. Hardware and software costs pile up quickly throughout the course of a year, and it is important that the team responsible for keeping an eye on the company's assets has proper logging of those assets. Lost equipment, duplicate purchases, all due to a failing inventory system are unacceptable. Finding a proper tool to keep tabs on everything was very important to us. After trialing a few different apps, we settled on Asset Tracker for Jira by Spartez Software, as it seemed to be the most robust tool that was customizable, allowed advanced searching, auditing, and most importantly, the ability to import our existing Excel sheet without having to manually import those hundreds and hundreds of assets. Sorry, the screenshot here provides an example of how easily we could drill down to search for a specific asset. Here's a detailed screen of a single asset where we are able to add custom fields for what we wanted to track for a given asset, whether it be amount of RAM, storage space, or warranty information. As you can see here in the middle of the slide, the ability to link tickets to assets was a huge bonus for us with this app. In regards to software assets, we were able to customize for product key, version number, among so many other fields. The solution for us to view an asset and see its complete history from purchase to support issues was very important, which brings me to purchasing. Knowing how Jira allows for customized workflows, we already moved 2 tools into the Atlassian suite. It was a no-brainer to migrate purchase orders from the legacy SharePoint into a custom project in Jira. Jira's auto-incrementing ticket numbers were a perfect use for unique purchase order numbers. After building our workflow and creating some custom fields, we ended up with a purchase order system that far surpassed SharePoint in terms of ease of management, searchability, and the ability to interlink everything together. As you can see in the example ticket here, we're now able to attach request forms, link to service desk tickets, and even make the accounting department happy with a custom field to reflect paid status. Here's a quick view of the workflow and some functions that we added to streamline our process. By using condition statements, we are able to block unauthorized approvals based upon purchase amount, and using post functions, we auto-assign the request as it moves through the workflow to make the workflow as smooth as possible. Aside from us also having a customer portal for our it also provided us the way to have a customer portal for our external customers. Jira had helped our real money gaming division simplify our compliance audits. Being in the gambling industry requires High Five Games to undergo audits by several overseas gaming authorities. These audits require many departments to provide proof that we are following necessary change management procedures in many different areas. During these audits, we need to provide a network report of all machines that have local admin users, as well as the written approval for that access. Previously, we would send emails or Slack messages to the appropriate managers and directors, but then come audit time, it would be hard to track down the approval. Now with the custom ticket type in Jira, we have a workflow for admin request tickets. The ticket gets assigned to an employee's manager to receive its approval and then explain their business case. Using the date field, we have a filter subscription that sends us an email notification when it's been a year and it's time for a reauthorization of their admin access. Jira's exporting capabilities made it easy to export proof of employee separations and the disabling of their access by querying and exporting tickets from HR. We also found the use of filter subscriptions for keeping tabs on renewals in our purchase order projects, so we don't get blindsided by any expiring applications or maintenance contracts. Lastly, being able to incorporate Jira events into our chat applications was a huge bonus. Previously, new ticket notifications would get lost in the sea of emails. Being able to integrate Jira into HipChat originally and now into Slack allows our team to receive alerts all in one place for new issues for all service desk support verticals. In summary, switching our service desk management from our previous products to the Atlassian suite provided our end users with a simple, familiar interface. It provided our team better insights into corporate assets to reduce unnecessary spending. We gained better process of purchase order approvals while also helping to streamline our budget forecasting. And as our company's needs changed, we found ways to solve new issues while using this new suite of tools. And that was how we managed to improve our Jira service desk management by leveraging the Atlassian suite to improve our efficiency. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Joseph. That was a wonderful presentation. A lot of insight on how you could use Service Desk. All right, guys, anyone have any questions for Joe? Okay, there's a question. Joe, maybe do you want to see that? Have you considered Jira Insight?
But John, would you be able to elaborate more on that? I never heard of Jira Insight.
I think, Joe, I have heard this is another asset management plugin. So I'm not sure when you did your evaluation. So like probably when you decided on your asset management tool, were there any other products apart from the one that you saw, like you guys bought?
There was another one, and we actually ended up adopting two separate asset managers into Jira because two totally separate teams needed access. And at the time that we adopted Spartez's solution, they had no way of doing granular permissions of who could view certain assets. So my team uses Spartez's solution, but then our security team uses a separate solution. I could post in the chat the name of theirs. Being in the, again, with the compliance and auditing, every time we do change management on our production environments, we have to link the asset being affected to the change request. So they use a separate asset manager for those purposes. But Jira Insight was not one that I remember testing.
Interesting. So do you still have a different plugin as well for the other asset management tasks?
Unfortunately, yes. Once we get the ability to consolidate into one by having those separated permissions, then we'll consolidate back into one. But unfortunately, we couldn't give all those other departments insight into all of our licenses and all that we have in there.
Oh boy, I can totally get that. All right. Any other questions? Okay, if no one else, I have one, Joe.
1 second, Madhu, I believe Araf had one. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yeah, it's just I think I just spoke about like what his other options were. I think Bjorn actually talked about Insight as well.
Great, thanks.
In terms of a service desk solution or in terms of an asset management solution?
Asset management, because it's funny because Bjorn talked about Insight and I got stuck deploying that here. So I was just curious because I did take a look at Spartez or the asset management tool. I was just curious why you chose that asset management tool as opposed to something else. That's all.
At the time we purchased it, it was also a free tool, which was obviously an added bonus. It is now a asset management tool, but their support was so great along the way that it actually encouraged us to want to continue to move forward with it. They actually reached out to us to trial new features, provide feedback to them regarding those new features, asking us what we were looking for in the application. So just having that type of hands-on support from them was just a huge bonus that made sticking with them worthwhile.
That's nice to have. So probably
Okay.
you get to dictate a lot of the features or bug fixes then.
Yeah.
Nice. So again, I'm sorry earlier, I did not really see this chat. So the other question that I had was, how easy or was it difficult to get your finance and other folks onboarded into the new system? Like, where they're like, I mean, I always have this challenge. Everyone, the moment I mention Jira to my business or the accounting folks, they freak out. They think Jira is a geeky stuff, and they're like, not for them.
So we stayed away from Jira for a long time with using Case, and then we finally dove in. And once we did dive in and did the Atlassian admin trainings, we realized how great of a product it was compared to the previous solution. So in terms of accounting, being that we were able to provide them with better insight and show them how we could potentially save them money, they were excited. In terms of getting those departments to have their own projects and use Jira for their own workflows, not so much. Like you said, some of those other non-engineering departments do find this to be a little bit geeky and not necessary for their workloads, but maybe one day we'll be able to convert them.
Nice. And how long has the system been live or active for you?
I would say it's been about 3.5 years now. Okay. And as we going live in more regulated markets, things are always changing and we're constantly improving.
Cool. And also, like at the end of after you bought after so many years, did you ever do a cost analysis comparison, like what you were before in the past or before you made this change?
We did, and what we were paying to maintain that case appliance, and then obviously when you have dedicated hardware, the hardware after a while goes bad. You have to replace both the hardware and the support costs. Going the Jira route, being we already had a Jira server instance, was the most cost-effective route. I don't have exact numbers of return on investment, but it was more cost efficient.
Cool. Alrighty, this is very helpful. Anyone else have any other questions?
I actually have a question, if you don't mind. What are those other departments using instead of Jira Service Desk to track their work projects? And do they face the same like regulatory scrutiny that you said your software and production changes do for your industry?
So like the main departments I could think of that are not using it are more of the back office departments, like our accounting, our HR, our legal, where unfortunately they're just doing email, and obviously they get more of a burden, come the audit time. But you can't force them to change their ways.
Okay, well, you're really going to love the second half of this presentation. That's all.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, if there's no more, I think Joe will still hang around. So after the talk, if you have any more questions that comes up later, you can always bring it back. So thanks, Joe. We totally appreciate that. And as a kind gesture from the New York ACE community, we give out the $25 Amazon gift card for you. So thanks for taking your time to prepare this and presenting in front of the community. And again, this is a window to showcase to all our other user members that please come forward, share a story, something that you have solved, which will probably inspire someone else as well. Like even if you're you're trying to solve something, let's say you are moving from a local storage to a SAN storage. What are the challenges that you are experiencing? Maybe we can all help you out, things like that. So again, please come forward. The community is for us as a user. So it's all for you. Thanks, Joe. So moving on. So before we hand over to the next presenters, or probably the continuation of the same talk of service desks to a little more enhanced way on how we can do it. So I just wanted to call out again, people, if you have not answered the survey, please do it now before we go to the next presenter. So either you have time there or till 6 p.m. we have the window open. And for anyone else, for this event, the raffles that we are going to draw out, you got to stay around, hang around till the last, because you need to be there for us to call you out your name and handover. So please stay around. So, all right, with that, I'm going to introduce you now to Fletcher, Richman, and Steve Goldsmith from Atlassian. So a big round of applause for them. I'm not sure if many of you know, Atlassian recently acquired Halp. Probably they're going to give us some more insight. Fletcher is the founder. That's what we're told. Maybe Fletcher, you can clarify and add more color to that. And we also have Steve Goldsmith. I'm not sure if any of you in the past had attended the New York ACE event during the 2017 at the NASDAQ holiday party. Steve came here, spoke to us. It was a different topic, so he's come back. It's a nice, cooler topic than that. So welcome both of you here, and the stage is yours.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, our approach to messaging in general has changed pretty substantially, as you've seen. And so 2 years ago, we shut down Stride and HipChat, exited out. And if you think about the general migration Atlassian's been through, at that time, we started looking at the platforms that our customers were using, right? We had obviously been looking at that before, but we really doubled down on being customers of those platforms. And so for the last 18 months, 2 years, we've been working on to say, if you're a shop that uses Slack or Microsoft Teams, we have a way to extend the value of those products out into Teams. So if you're using Jira, you have a great experience with Slack for Jira, etc. Halp represents kind of the first step of the next generation of products we're looking at, which is, instead of a companion that says, hey, if you're using one of our core products, we've created a companion experience for you in messaging. Halp is our first sort of messaging native play here, of saying you're actually discover and use this. And I don't want to steal too much of Fletcher's demo here, but you're discovering and using this primarily through Slack and soon to be Teams. So with that, I will say, hey, this is the context, is that we are obviously excited to welcome Halp to the team. Great team and great founding crew that has done a lot of really amazing and interesting stuff in a very short amount of time. And we're really excited and optimistic for the future. And we really love to hear what you guys think about this, because you all, if you understood the last half of that presentation, this will make perfect sense especially for the groups that are resistant to actually using our Jira software products and Jira Service Desk products. This is the perfect thing to fit in front of that, ideally. So with that, I'll hand it over to Fletcher.
Sweet, thanks, Steve. Yeah, great to be here. And just to give everyone a little more context on who I am and how I ended up here. So I was the co-founder and CEO of Halp. We were a 14-person team based in Boulder, Colorado. I had 2 other co-founders and then a whole team of folks building the product, selling the product, supporting the product that are now all full-time employees of Atlassian. My role at Atlassian now is just leading product for Halp. So super excited to be here, and yeah, would love to get just feedback and thoughts from folks on what we're doing, and feel free to post questions and stuff in the chat. We'll have plenty of time for questions afterward. So let's just start with a little context on why Halp started. Steve kind of hinted at a little bit of this, but we started the company 3 years ago, and we really saw this trend happening pretty early on, as in the early days of Slack and really when Microsoft Teams, I don't even think existed, and came out about a year after we started the company. And today we've just absolutely seen this enormous shift in the way that people are communicating in the workplace. It was already going on for the past several years, but all of us moving to remote focused work and remote first work for many companies has really just accelerated this trend. So these stats are sort of the most recent stats we could grab from these 2 products that are the 2 dominant products in the space. And this has really only accelerated over the last few months. A lot of these stats are pretty out of date, but you can see just really incredible growth for these 2 products. And we really think this represents a brand new way for people to not only communicate at work, but really an operating system inside of the workplace. So as all of us are communicating and interacting in this one central place, it's also where we're getting our work done. It's also now becoming more than just a messaging tool for a lot of employees inside of companies. And so at Halp, we started building on top of these platforms, just knowing that there was going to be an opportunity to build on top of these messaging layers and build new ways to work and organize work on top of the messaging layers. And what we've built is this conversational ticketing solution. So we've really rethought the entire concept of a service desk and designed it for this new messaging world, right? A lot of previous service desk and help desk solutions are designed for email, because email is the primary tool that most people communicate with. We had to really rethink a lot of stuff, and I'll do a pretty in-depth demo here and show you how we've rethought things like subject lines and CCs and all of these sort of fundamental things that don't really exist in the messaging world. And so that's the product we built. We launched the product in the spring of last year, so around April of 2019. along with an announcement, we raised some money from Slack and some other great investors like Techstars, and launched the product now about 18 months ago. And it's really been amazing to see it in the marketplace and just see how much excitement and traction we've gotten. We sort of initially targeted your traditional help desk users, right? Your sort of IT and operations teams that you would expect to need a solution to manage tickets. But what we found is that Halp actually is great for lots of teams outside of just those traditional groups. So a lot of finance teams, legal teams, and marketing teams are using our product. And because it's built into Slack that they're already comfortable with and really have no problem learning, it's really adopted pretty nicely by teams across the board. And we've seen it also used at a pretty incredible range of forward-thinking companies as well. Sort of fast-growing startups like Webflow are using Halp, and then up into larger companies like GitHub and Showtime that use the product as well. So we're able to support teams in small organizations, large organizations, kind of across the board. And we even have Slack using the product themselves, which is a little bit meta, but Slack is using Halp to manage their own tickets as an organization. Slack's almost 2,000 employees, I think now. And they saw pretty incredible results, which is pretty common for a lot of our customers. They saw an improvement in their handle time by about 50% after deploying the product. Really, typically what tends to happen is they have all these requests happening in Slack. They have no way to track them whatsoever. So just getting improvement on reporting and really getting a stronger understanding of what's going on and not having all these requests that are completely unmanaged. So they saw some great results. Another company that we've worked with for quite a while that has helped shape the product, kind of similar to how you're talking about, Joe, is Strava. And they saw 90% improvement across their response times and resolution times. Strava is a great example where they're using it across a bunch of different departments: IT, finance, HR. Any request inside of Strava is going through Halp. So that's a little background on Halp and why we exist and what we do. I'm going to jump in just to a demo because I think the most fun thing we can do here is play around with the product, show you all how it works, what it looks like integrated with Jira Service Desk. So I will flip over to my demo now. And just to set the context here so everyone kind of knows what we're looking at, I'm guessing most people are familiar with Slack. We're logged into one Slack workspace here, but we're logged in as two different users. So it's a side-by-side view. Our user on the right here is Mike. Mike is our employee that's going to have some sort of a problem and need to get it fixed. And our person on the left here is 11. She's our admin. So you can see a Stranger Things themed demo here. We are going to see the sort of back and forth and the whole experience from both sides. So what typically happens, kind of our typical thing that we see across Slack as well as Microsoft Teams, is people have these ask channels or these help channels that they've created. They'll have different ones: IT help, HR help, design requests, all those sorts of open channels where people are asking things. A lot of stuff happens in direct messages as well, which we also support, but these public channels are pretty common across most companies. So let's say I were to go into the IT help channel and come in here and say, hey, my VPN isn't working. Pretty typical thing that you might see. And we're not trying to change any behavior here or really modify the way that the employee is going to work, because the employee is going to do what the employee wants to do, as we all know. And so instead, what you'll do is actually just take their message and just add the ticket emoji to their message. You can do this, or the employees over time will actually learn to do this themselves. You add the message to the emoji to this message called a react-g. Is create a thread on that message, and the thread becomes the ticket. Right, so you can see here now that, hey, my VPN isn't working is now ticket number 2184, and all of the messages in this thread are now going to be comments on that ticket, right? And so on my other side, if I look over at 11's view, 11 is a part of this private channel in Slack that we call a triage channel. So this is only members of her team, in this case, the IT team, that can see this request and actually collaborate on it answer questions, assign it to themselves. They can actually manage this work from this one central place, whether the ticket came from a direct message or from a channel or from Jira Service Desk, wherever it came from, they'll all land in this one triage channel. And so 11 is just going to go in here and she's going to say, sweet, let me just respond. Hey, Mike, the VPN is down right now. And when 11 responds, you'll see that her response is actually going to post over here in the thread so that Mike can see it. And Mike can say, oh, that sucks. And Mike's response will also post back. 11 can also do cool things like, hey, I'm going to add a private note to this ticket and say, hey, @manager, can you look at this? And tag other people on her team. In this case, he's not in this channel, but you can tag and collaborate with folks right on this ticket. She might assign it to somebody else, right? So she can go in here and assign this to one of the other agents, change the status. Really a fully interactive experience here in Slack is what we're shooting for. Our goal is that you shouldn't have to ever leave Slack if you don't want to be able to manage this ticket. So you might be running around on your phone and just need to really quickly answer a question. And we make that really easy to do. We also make it really easy to for the employee, right, who they don't want to go to a portal or go to some other place and have to manage their tickets. Eventually here, we're going to just close out this ticket. And when we close it out, you'll see it actually archives itself and the employee can go ahead and give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down here. So you get some feedback on the experience. You also, I guess we'll just pause there. That's the Slack experience. So the concept being it's a full round trip experience right from within Slack, and both sides, both the agent and the end user, can do that entire back and forth and do it all from within the Slack interface. Let's say that you work tickets all day and you want to manage those tickets in a simpler way. We have a few different options for you. You can use Halp as your ticketing system. So if we open up one of these tickets, you'll see we actually have the Halp ticketing interface and tickets pop up. It's very much a message-based sort of Slack style experience. It's always in dark mode. And I can just respond here, hi, from the web, and my responses are going to sync as well. This is where I can manage all my tickets. So kind of what you'd expect from a typical ticketing interface. And a lot of our customers just use that. That's their back end in their ticketing system. Or let's say that you already have Jira Service Desk, or maybe one of the groups in your company is using Jira Service Desk. That's great. We also integrate, and it's a two-way sync with Jira Service Desk. So if I were to open up one of these tickets, this was created from a different channel that's actually synced with Jira Service Desk. When I open this up, it goes directly into my Jira Service Desk ticket, right? And same thing, we don't want to make you context switch or have to constantly be worrying about where you're going to work. And so you can actually just reply right here and say, hey, from JSD again, and respond to this ticket. And when I do that, the end user is going to get a notification here, and they'll see the notification in their other ticket, which came directly from Jira Service Desk. So we really, you can kind of see the concept here of making it really easy to work from wherever the end user wants to work, if that's Slack, or work from wherever the agent wants to work. They can work from Slack, from Halp, or from Jira Service Desk, and it's all seamless. It all syncs and integrates together. The one other cool thing I'll show off before we get into a few questions is one of our more recent features we launched, which is called Halp Answers. So you've kind of gotten up to level 1, you're creating tickets, people are actually tracking all the requests that you're getting in Slack or Microsoft Teams. Great. Well, now you're starting to get some of the same questions over and over again. So we do have the ability to start to categorize those questions using forms. So you might have a few different forms that you've set up. People can submit tickets via forms right from Slack. Those can map to your forms in Jira Service Desk. Or let's say people just really want to keep posting into those channels, and that's the way that they tend to work. You can come in here and in this channel, we have it set up to automatically create tickets and then use the keywords of those tickets to try to recommend an answer. So you can see if I say, hey, the printer on floor 3 is broken, it's actually going to automatically create a ticket. And in the responses, it's going to recommend some printer-based answers to this user as potential solutions to their problem. So we have the ticket. If none of these answers are right, that's totally okay. But the user might say, oh yeah, great, this actually solved my problem. I'm going to go ahead and just close this ticket out myself, and the agent never needed to do anything. These answers can be supplied by previous Slack messages that you've sent, and if you send them a bunch, you can just say, hey, let's mark this as an answer, or you can import this actually from Confluence. If you have some of this knowledge already inside of Confluence, it'll just post a link to a Confluence article based on some natural language processing and keywords that it's matching on. So that gets pretty powerful. We've seen some customers do some pretty incredible things when sort of combining all the different features and functionality. This honestly just kind of gives you a quick taste. So yeah, I'll pause there and see if any questions have come in. Yeah, happy to take it whatever direction is interesting for folks.
I might pull up the recipes page there, Fletcher, and the integrations page to just show a little bit more detail around how this and JSD connect and the flexibility there for this specific audience. I think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, so the way we have Jira Service Desk hooked up, it looks like there's a bunch of good questions as well. So in the Halp web interface, this is where you get to modify a bunch of your settings. So you build forms, you build fields, and you can sort of manage all of the different aspects of the experience. What you can also do is set up your integrations. So you can see here we have both a Jira Service Desk instance cloud as well as a data center instance connected. This supports server, data center, and cloud. I'd say the best experience is definitely in cloud. That's where we're able to do the most, but we do support all three. And what we've done here is we've hooked up this specific Jira project, right? So we have this project Service Desk hooked up with this specific request type, get IT help. And what we've done is we've actually said, I only want tickets from this specific Slack channel to map to that request type. And this is fully editable by you. So you could say when a ticket comes from a specific form or a Slack channel, or even when I use a specific emoji, those can be things that actually route your ticket to this specific integration. And so what we've seen some of our customers do, as I sort of mentioned earlier, where you have a finance team, a legal team, and a IT team, is two of the teams might use Jira Service Desk and we can route to their different projects. And then one of them's like, I don't want to touch Jira. I just want to use a lightweight ticketing system, and they can just use Halp. And that's really sort of where a lot of the depth and power comes from, is this ability to build these recipes that are custom to whatever your team needs.
Cool, that was great. There are a couple more questions here. Let me just start with the first one. So what if there are multiple users reporting the same issue? Can you update them all at once? So this is coming from John Patton.
Good question. We don't have bulk editing or updating right now. It's a good feature request. There is, I'm fairly sure, bulk editing and updating inside of Jira Service Desk. So if you were integrated with Jira Service Desk and you bulk updated 10 tickets, all those updates would sync to Halp. But we don't have anything like that built into Halp directly.
And the knowledge base in terms of, again, this question is from me. Let's say you already built a knowledge base within Confluence for everything possible, and people are asking the same question. Is it possible, like Service Desk already does that? Is it possible like via Halp to route it to Confluence?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have it set up in this specific demo, but basically in that same integrations view, so let's see if we even have any. We might not have any, so this could totally fail. But we can do a new Confluence integration here, right? And let's see, I don't think, yeah, this one doesn't have any, but you basically connect your Confluence, you choose which spaces you want to import. Once you've imported those spaces, we'll actually pull in all the content from those specific spaces, because you might not want everything in your Confluence. I don't know about you guys, but we have all sorts of crazy stuff in our Confluence. So maybe just the knowledge base portion of your Confluence, but you might use the template to create that. You can pull in that space. Once that's pulled in the Halp Answers tab, so you can see we have a bunch of different answers here. These will all be powered by a Confluence page, and then you can choose which phrases do you want to actually map to this answer. So it's pretty configurable once again by you based on your team and what you want to have happen. You can say, I want it for any time the word VPN is used or anytime this very specific phrase is used, and that's when that'll actually be recommended. You also get to choose if you want it recommended to the user or just recommended to the agent. So depending on how confident you are in the deflection, you can create an experience that's more like a canned response, or you can do a full deflection option.
Interesting. But when you say, when you import it, is this in time that you import? What if over the period of time, the Confluence page evolves, there are more changes?
Yeah, so we're just linking to the Confluence page. We're not importing the entire thing because that wouldn't look very good in Slack to have the whole Confluence page post, right? So we just say, hey, oh, you have like, here's how to get your benefits information. Boom, here's the actual link. And then you just click out to Confluence. So the content itself won't come into Halp.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
I guess a bunch of questions on the chat channel, like if anyone wants to unmute and ask them yourself, or we can do it on your behalf, either way.
Oh, I can answer one really quick, which is the multi-org. So are you talking, actually, let me clarify. Are you talking about shared channels between two companies, or grid, enterprise grid, where you have multiple Slack instances inside one company? Shared channels. Yeah. So we do support shared channels. One of the interesting ways people use Halp, which is really cool, is they either are they're a managed service provider who's providing support to lots of different companies, and they have shared channels with those different companies, and they'll make tickets out of those questions in the shared channels. Or some B2B companies that we work with actually share channels with their customers, and then they're using Halp as a way to manage tickets with their customers. We also support a Zendesk integration, so a lot of those customers will actually integrate with Zendesk as well.
Cool.
And then there's some Microsoft Teams questions. So we're currently working on our MS Teams integration. We'd love to chat with you if you're a heavy user of MS Teams. That team is deep in the Microsoft world right now and looking for feedback. And so if you go to our site, just halp.com, you'll see a Microsoft Teams link, and there's a waitlist form you just fill out. If you fill that out, that team will likely reach out to you pretty quickly because they're right in the middle of that and figuring out some of the limitations as well. Do people do a lot of integration with Confluence, Google Docs, Trello? Where do I find most of the knowledge base companies reside? So far, Confluence is our primary knowledge base integration that we've done. So that's where we're seeing most knowledge. It's pretty spread out, I think is my basic answer. Is it's definitely pretty spread out, but Confluence is what we're seeing the most so far, especially with folks using Jira Service Desk. And how does Halp answer the behavior situation where answer is sent from a Confluence space that the customer is unable to view? It's a good question. We don't have an amazing solution for that right now. We don't check in with the Confluence permissions, but one of the reasons we're so excited about being a part of Atlassian is the opportunity to get more deeply embedded with products like Confluence, products like OpsGenie. Now that we're a part of the suite, the deeper and deeper we get integrated, it's much better. We'll be able to pull things like, hey, can this user actually see that Confluence article, right? So.
And before you move off that, we are actually working on that on the Confluence side of the world as well. So what what Fletcher just said, but also the notion of anonymous or guest access that you'd be able to enable on the Confluence side for specific spaces or documents to try and meet in the middle on that.
And then this question about the automatic ticket creation for people who post tons of messages. Yeah, so I agree. I always hated the automatic ticket creation thing because of this exact problem. Customers just post whatever they want, right? And so it really depends on your users, and you can choose to turn off that automated ticket creation in some channels. In other channels, I'll show you, we do have a really cool feature for people who tend to post like this. So if I go and say, hey, I need help. Then what you'll actually do, and I'll do it as the agent. So the agent would go in here and say, oh man, okay, they posted all these messages. They'd start with the pin. The pin marks the start of the messages, and then you end with the ticket. And what we're actually going to do is you'll see we grab all of the messages here and actually build the entire ticket with all the messages on it. So that's one of our sort of cool power user features for those situations where you get a DM with like 20 messages, right, from somebody in the middle of the night, and you go back and forth with them a bunch of times. You can actually take that whole conversation and roll it up into the ticket, which is really nice because then you get credit for all the work you're doing.
That was a pretty cool trick. That was nice.
What data do we collect and store? So we are storing ticket data and messages. We don't want to have to be reliant on the Jira and Slack APIs at all times. So we store a copy of the message, which allows us to also send it to different places. We take security and compliance very seriously. Even before we were part of Atlassian, we are SOC 2 compliant, and you can kind of go and review all of our security practices and everything. We know we're storing sensitive information, so we've chosen to just be very serious about how we handle security and compliance. And we work with really big customers, right? We work with Slack. So if your data is inside of Slack, then Slack has done a pretty full security review with us and trusts us with handling their data. Customers like that, like Adobe, pretty big names that use our product. So that's the answer there. We do store sensitive information.
But I have one question there, Fletcher. Like, what if there is an existing issue that's going on, like your VPN is down and there are a bunch of people asking the same questions or bombarding it? Like, is there a way to all link them to one ticket?
Good question. So one thing we've actually seen is that with the public channel, with that sort of public channel concept, it actually reduces the number of duplicate tickets that you get. That's why I think it is actually such a good idea to have a public channel like that called IT Help or Ask IT, is because before someone posts, they're hopefully going to look one or two messages up and see if anyone else has reported it. And then they can just join into that thread as opposed to having to make their own ticket. So just sort of this paradigm of messaging and channels has improved that quite a bit. We don't currently have a way to merge tickets together. That's not functionality that we have in Halp, but it is something sort of on our roadmap that we're considering. So.
Okay, cool.
We also have a great product called Status Page that you could use to just tell everybody it's down and then post a message inside Slack and then answer the ones that don't answer. Got it all covered.
Yep.
That's nice. But again, like, what if people want to be tracked? Like, can you let me know when the issue is resolved? There are those kind of people, right? So you want to put them on part of a ticket, and then once you resolve this issue, whatever that you have, you want to blast out an email just to these people who have been watching that. Like,
yeah, well, they can join the thread in Slack actually, right? So if any of them comment in the thread in Slack, they're going to be added as a follower into our ticket, and they're going to actually receive those Slack notifications. So that's the messaging style solution for it, as opposed to sending out emails to folks. I see a question about Confluence Server. We don't currently support Confluence Server, something we're considering. So if that's super important to you, please do reach out. It'll push it up on the feature request list. And it looks like there's one for you, Steve, from Delete. I can.
Yeah.
Do you want to
leave
jump
that
into
to
that
the
one?
end because that kind of takes a little bit off topic. As long as we're going through, if we covered all the actual product questions about Halp.
Yeah. So Halp Ops Genie. As of right now, we have a Zapier integration that allows you to send alerts via Ops Genie and other paging style products. So it's built with Zapier, not a first party integration. That's how that currently works. We're kind of evaluating ways to do that deeper. So that's the current status. If they react with the emoji, are they added to the ticket? So the person who adds the emoji to the message can be automatically set as the assignee. That's a recipe that you can create if you want to. The person who sent the initial message becomes the requester. So on your ticket, you'll have always an assignee and a requester. And then if you add a +1, this is really cool, actually. If we want to get into some of the fun stuff that we can do, let me see if this recipe already exists within, I think Noah might still be on this call. Noah, do you know if there's a, oh yeah, the eyes emoji, it looks like it is on for this. Let me share my screen again. So we've built all sorts of recipes in this instance, which make it a little bit overbearing. But basically, you have this recipe. When a message is marked with an emoji eyes, then it automatically assigns it to the user who did the eyes emoji, right? So I can go into this channel and I can look at, let's go into the triage channel, and I could look at tickets that don't have an assignee yet. And here's an example one. And I can just do eyes emoji and it'll assign this ticket to me, right? So hopefully magic will happen. Live demo. Yeah, so there it goes, a little slow. And you can do all, like we have ones like with my face, and when anyone puts my face on a ticket, it assigns it to me. Or you can do a fire truck, and when anyone does that, it goes high priority, right? So lots of possibilities with these just basic if-then statements, but we've built so many different triggers now based on who's responding, when an emoji is used, when things happen in a Jira integration, and then a bunch of different actions that you can do as well. Send an automated message, set someone as a follower, change the status, right? There's all sorts of fun stuff that you can do here.
Cool. I think it's definitely really fascinating to have. So what is the future that you see, like in terms of this machine learning and artificial intelligence baking into these products? Like what's the next level? Is there something that you have on the roadmap, something cool coming up?
Yeah, I mean, the big one for us right now is around Microsoft Teams, right? So just getting out to our second platform, that's our big push right now. I do think if you think about Halp Answers as a product, what's really cool about it is that it actually has a lot of sort of reinforced learning possibilities. So each time that an answer is recommended, we know what answer got recommended, and then we know if the answer was accepted or not. And so over time, we actually get smarter and smarter about which answers we're recommending, because we know which ones actually solve people's problems and we know which ones didn't. That's kind of why we pushed to release it so early, is because now we're just collecting and gathering all this great data about what type of answers tend to work. Hey, this Confluence page, get like 9 out of 10 times is the right answer to a question about benefits or whatever. And that's going to allow us to continue to improve that. So we're super excited about the Halp Answers product and the potential for that to kind of just make itself smarter, I guess, over time. So that's something that I'd hint at. And then one of the other big things we're working on is just making it a lot easier for more teams to use Halp inside of your organization. So making that whole administrative process, configuration process really simple. If a new team wants to sign up, making it really simple for them to just set up their own little Halp desk and not have it conflict with the IT team's forms or fields or whatever else they've set up. And that's something we've definitely seen over time as something that customers want.
Cool. That's really great. I guess there's one more generic question from Samantha. Do you want me to read out, or you can?
Yeah, I'm reading it. So I think this is more kind of asking about if you're using Jira Service Desk for customer service. Is that right?
Yeah, so if the customers are using the Jira Service Desk to create tickets, right? And all these things get triaged and, people attend to them. But in the meanwhile, some of the great product ideas come from that, and this is also used to be able to prioritize, what the customers need first. What is most important to them? It's all very customer centric. And I wanted to know if anyone, or if Halp in any way to be able to, you know, keep track basically of these kind of things that will, come out as some great product that gives competitive edge, or, some enhancement that would, give more to the customers that can, increase the revenue or, whatever the cases might be, not just triaging, but somehow being able to use it as a tool to be able to create products or enhancements.
Yeah, totally. So I think in terms of Halp, the only way that I think we're related to that is what someone asked about earlier, which is the idea of shared channels with customers in Slack. So one trend that we're seeing is Slack, they've now branded as Slack Connect, because you can actually have one Slack channel shared with multiple different Slack organizations. So let's say you have the channel and you have your 5 best customers all shared in that one channel, and that's your sort of VIP channel for people to give you product feedback. You could use Halp as a way to actually take those requests, which are in Slack and really hard to manage, turn them all into tickets, sync that with your Jira Service Desk instance, and now you'd have a bunch of specific tickets of a specific request type that were synced to Jira Service Desk. So that might be one way that Halp specifically fits in. I think when I think about Jira Service Desk overall as a product, it's so close to Jira and so integrated well with Jira. Your engineering team is probably using Jira, and so it's pretty easy to pass off a ticket that originated in Jira Service Desk and send it over to Jira to get onto the roadmap or in the backlog or whatever makes sense. So that is, I think, a place where the Atlassian suite does shine, is anytime you're trying to make sure that customer requests or any sort of requests engineering ends up looking at them, being closer and more integrated with Jira is a good way to do that.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking. I think it's more keeping up with the product tickets to be more in Jira software, and like the customers kind of stay on the service desk side, right? Yeah, I just wanted to see if there was like a better way to, for the service desk and Jira to talk better, I guess, to be able to keep track of these product tickets.
Yep, cool.
Alrighty, I think we've taken a lot of questions. Thanks a lot, Fletcher. That was really quite insightful. And I'm already using a service desk, and we already have this product, except that we are behind the firewalls, which means that getting any approval for a cloud-based solution is like whole 9 yards. But it's pretty cool. I hope if there is a server solution, that would be great. But if not, I mean, we do have Slack now, which is a cloud. But yeah, getting an approval would be a little more, but it would be fun. Like really, I can see the potential of what this product is capable of, so which is pretty cool. Thanks for that. And again, Steve as well for coordinating this. Dilip?
Yes, so sorry, I still have a question. I have my question for Steve, because I loved his little intro there about Atlassian strategy, which I think is very good, because I see a lot of new products and new integrations. And I'm also very curious about how you folks see that going forward, just in terms of, just so many information tools out there. It's hard to keep up or see kind of what the value is. So I'm definitely curious to hear that.
Yeah, I've been waiting to come back to that one too. That we think about this space as we call it internally off Atlassian. So all of our products are by definition on Atlassian, right? You click a link and you come to Jira, you come to Confluence or Trello or whatever, and you interact with the experience we provided there. As there's more and more SaaS products or cloud products in general that people use for their day in their life, my team is actually looking at like, how do we extend the value of all the information and process and things you've encoded in our products, but out to the edge where your end users are actually spending a lot of their time. And so we've released an IDE plugin for VS Code. We've released extensions for Jira in both Google Sheets and Excel, an Outlook application, Slack applications, MS Teams applications. So the last 18 months or so, we've really tried to push out and say, in a day in the life, where are your end users looking, even though they might want to be interacting with the data or process or updates or whatever in our systems. So while they're off Atlassian, how do we provide value to you and separate out that system of record, which is what Jira or Confluence or Trello are, from the system of engagement, which is where your users are actually engaging with that content. And so Halp actually represents our first, and I guess before I move off that, the whole point of that bet is that behavior change is hard, right? Yes, anybody could click a link and come to Jira or come to Trello or whatever and take the action, fill out the portal form on JST, and many users do. But that first step of behavior change, many users don't do, right? They're like, I'll just send them a message, I'll shoot them a text. Like, I don't want to go through the official process. And so the whole point of these types of products is to say, what's the best we can do without asking users to change behavior, right? You're already in Slack. We'll give you a nice unfurl for your Jira ticket in Slack. Here's some actions you can take to change state, assign it to somebody else, share it to another channel, but you're not actually leaving Slack. We're just superpowering your experience in Slack and Teams and spreadsheets and everything else. Halp is the first of what I would consider messaging native, which I was saying at the beginning of everything else we've done in that bucket is basically a companion. If you use Jira, you'll really like Jira for spreadsheets. You'll really like Jira for Slack, but you start by deploying Jira, and then we bring these nice companion experiences to you. Halp is the first of our native experiences that says you can go find this product from Atlassian in Slack's App Store. As you saw from Fletcher's demo, most of your end users are not even going to be aware you're using a product. Their behavior change is zero. They stay in Slack, they answer in a thread, they get notified on their phone via Slack messaging. We're using Slack as the interface in a native way, in a way we haven't really done in any of our products. And you can stop there if you'd like. You don't have to have previously deployed any other products from us. And Joe, I know some of the examples you use in your team. There might be teams who look at that, you're like, that's great, that's all I need. I have a noisy Slack channel and I would like an organized noisy Slack channel, and that's sufficient for my part of the business. But you can always replicate that stuff to other parts of our product suite and expand from there. And I think overall, that bucket of these native applications that say in Teams and in Slack, first of all, but other things as they emerge, how do we provide experiences for those users that are native to that environment that then we can expand out and solve other problems in that space? That's generally what we're thinking of. I think of it a lot like mobile back in the day. Mobile started as companion applications. You had a website and then you had like a smaller version of that website on your phone. And then wave 2 of mobile was, here's a native application that's specifically built for this device that may or may not have a larger web presence. This is basically what's happening in messaging right now, or we're trying to make happen in messaging right now. And back to my opening remarks is kind of the 180 since I talked to you last about Atlassian's position on messaging. Instead of like, let's build a platform, it's the other way of like, how do you ride on top of the platforms that are dominant in the industries and solve customer problems?
I forgot to share my favorite slide too. I included my email for anyone who wants to follow up with me. You're welcome to send me an email. I didn't get opt-in from Steve, so just send Steve smoke signals.
Yeah, I'm actually in the AUG channel in Slack too.
Oh, nice, so, cool.
Which I can add Fletcher to too. I don't know if I'm signed into it right now, but I think I am.
Or maybe if you use the pigeons.
I'm sorry, I was going to say, you know what, I love what the word you're using there. I think bringing the information to the medium of engagement the user is used to, I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm a product manager from that perspective. The information overload is so much, right? And it's, how do you handle the different teams? You're right, that's a great way to think about it. Thank you.
Oh, awesome, thank you.
Once again, thanks a lot, Fletcher. That was a really cool presentation. We hope you can come back probably after 6 months or a year to give a booster shot on what are the new features that you got us after this initial demo. We look forward for that. And again, Steve, I guess you have that yearly now presence that you need to do for us. Maybe next time in person, maybe.
Hey, also follow up on what Fletcher said. This is a new space for us. So if anything you saw is interesting, we have wait lists and places to go join into early access programs for all these things. So we really be keen to get feedback from anybody who wanted that today. I think we dropped it in the chat, but if not, we'll make sure we get the link in there. And guys, maybe you can distribute it back out to the group as well for anybody that didn't make the call.
We already have a bunch of MS Teams.
People already on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And just last comment then, we're doing all the same things on Teams that we already did on Slack. So like Teams for Jira Server, Teams for Trello, Teams for Confluence, trying to provide that companion experience on Teams. I don't have a nifty sign up form, but if you're interested in Halp and Confluence or Halp and whatever, we'll go through that same list and see how we can get feedback from you.
Alrighty, cool. Thanks a lot. We'll move to the next segment for the evening. That's something which is favorite among our users. So before that, just wanted to let you know that the survey is now closed, guys. So my colleagues Dilip and Kapil are pulling out the names. So before I call out their names, so I'm going to draw out the winners for the raffles this evening. So before I draw the raffles, once again, a very big thanks to Atlassian for this ACE event, AdTech for the gift card, Column Technologies for the Uber gift cards, and eCore Consulting. They have been all these super great expert partners, because of which we are able to have these events and have these cool prizes. So please reach out to them if you need any of the Atlassian related help or expert partnership. And then, as I mentioned, we have this 4 gift cards that we are going to draw the raffle. So I already have the names shortlisted. So these are all the users that we have for this evening. So I'm going to pull out the names. So the criteria here is the person has to be here and be able to respond back on the chat that you are here with your email ID. So it's very critical, because we have a bit of a challenge, a part of Bevy, that we cannot get the email ID since it's very restricted. So please, you have to share the email ID once we announce the winner. So once you're all ready, here we go. So this is just to prove you that it's not rigged. And the first winner we have is Albert Newton.
I'm here.
Do you mind putting in your email ID there on the Slack channel, please? So I'm not a Slack on the. All right. Let me just pull up. I'm just waiting. Yeah, okay, perfect. So this is for the $25 Uber gift card from Column. So, okay. So now we'll pull the second winner for the Column IT Uber gift card. Hey, John, congratulations, John. Looks like John knew that he will be the winner. Like, even before his name came, his email ID showed up on the chat. How did you do that, John? Congratulations for the second Uber gift card. Now we are going to have the eCore Technologies I think it's the 2 Amazon gift cards, what they are going to give. So yeah, let's go for the third winner for the evening. Yeah. Samantha, you are there? Yeah, there she is. Congratulations. And we have the last winner for the evening. So this is again $25 Amazon gift card.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I'll put my email address.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. So these are the winners for today's evening. We also have the survey, people who have answered the surveys. So I'm just going to pull out their names and we'll quickly draw the names. I know sometimes it's very grueling.
Madhu, I think the name is there just now.
Sorry?
No, hold on. No, I'm saying, yeah, the server of this draw and the name is in the last slide.
Your
for
voice
the survey one.
out. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying the winner names for the survey one is in the last sheet.
Yeah, I'm on the last sheet, survey winners.
Yeah.
No, on the deck, on the looping deck, Madhu.
Oh, we already announced, we already have the winners?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. So we already have the winners again. Since this was taking a lot of time, I guess, yeah, we already have the winners. So the $50 swag code goes to Andy. I'm not sure Andy is here, but these are all the survey winners. Again, this survey is going to help us to fine tune our present content in the coming events. So thanks for all that. And this is just gift cards are a way of a token for us to say thank you to you. So appreciate that. Again, coming back to continuation of the event, just to catch up, we have this online community event. So please participate, coordinate with us. Like this is a channel where you can change ideas, bounce ideas on us. And again, more of a communication. We also have the job sites as well from the Atlassian. So you could also, if you're looking for a change or you want to hire someone for your team, I think that's a perfect place. And then the upcoming events, there's a business system conference that's coming up from the Business Systems Magic. So it's one of the vendor products, plugin products. So they have a theme coming up. So again, Dilip, maybe if you can put the link on the chat about this Business System Magic for anyone who's interested to join. So that's available. Also, just to let you know, we are taking a break during the August. So we will not have an event during the month of August, and we'll circle back during September. So that's when we are planning to have the next ACE event. So we're going to have some more cool topics. So stay tuned. And again, we're also planning to have the conference, more of a, discussion forums around Jira administration, Confluence administration, or Power Tools, stuff like that, which we've got a lot of positive feedback in the past. So again, we'll use the survey as a benchmark to see what our users want. So we'll take it from there. I guess that's all that we have for the evening. Any questions, any feedback at all?
All good, thank you.
Awesome, thanks a lot everyone for making the event. We appreciate all the speakers. So Joseph, Centineo, Fletcher, and Steve, it was really great having you guys, and we look forward to have you again.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for including us. Super fun. Always great to talk to our customers. So thanks for what you do.
Awesome.
That was great. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Take care, y'all. Have a good afternoon.
Yep.
Bye.